Welcome back to each and every one of you absolute legends on this channel, and we are back with a GP weekend. It is the Thanksgiving GP. It is opening round, so we've made it through quite comfortably, and it is now time for the opening round, the first 4 races of this GP to bring you in this video. And this is what we're using. We're using Max Verstappen and George Russell as our main 2 drivers. And for the car, we've got our Claw with a 10%, but it is pretty similar to what we've used before. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I hope you are too. And the big ask for you in the comments section is let me know how you're getting on. I'm very interested on how you're getting on, and let's see if we can improve you at the same time. So let's kick it off. Opening round, and we have no Music Man in our group, but that could all change tomorrow. We never know. But at the moment, we take the positive that we could sneak a potential P1 this weekend. So let's go with it. Race 1, 35% chance of rain, and it's my favourite Melbourne. If you can sense the sarcasm, this could be tough. First race up, and we are against a Max account. How many times have you heard me say that? And I think we're in a tricky team score at the minute where whatever we do, we pull a Max account or worse. And you can see here, this is going to be a tough one indeed. So we're going to go for Rooster with George, and it's tricky what I go with really, but I think I'm going to go tuning with Max and try and get the quick pit stop through. That's my only hope here. Especially, he looks like a real player as well. So, it's almost cemented not to get 47 points here. So here we go. First race in Australia. Real player. And we are off. Lights out from George Russell. Can he go up the middle through the first corner? He can. So we are P2 at the start of this race. And the rival has gone for softs and a medium. And he looks like he has got the tune in, which he has. And we've got Max Verstappen in P7 right behind Charles Leclerc. So it's very tough, this race, especially with a human player. We're not going to be able to score probably what we want to. But there is absolutely nothing we can do about that. That is life, as they call it. And the rival pits with both cars. And I can only assume he's forgot to cancel pit. Wow. That was unexpected. I can only assume the rival did forget to cancel that early pit stop. And by God, that's changed the way of this race. So suddenly, we're in P1. We've got the rival in P2. And we've now got the tyres to maybe try and hold him back. But we've got the blocking on Russell. And by God, this has changed the outcome. So here we go. We're into lap 3 with Max. And I didn't expect that. That's one thing I didn't expect to see today, was that happen, because it looked pretty bleak. But we've got Verstappen P6, and we've got him ahead of his Norris, who's now out in P11. So a bad move, first race for Team Ruffo. So I feel for him there because, it's easily done, guys. That's so easily done. And what's the gap we've got at the minute? 3.8. So I'm going to stick to my mediums, I think. I can do 4 laps. And we've got Verstappen in P5. So we're going to carry on with him. What we got ahead of us? We've got some mediums. So hopefully we can get ahead of them with a quick pit stop. As we hunt down a potential P1. So the rival's going to come into the pit. So he's got tune in. But so he might actually get out ahead of us here. He doesn't. He was close to. And I'm going to try and push now Russell as long as I can. Because he's got 4 laps that he can go. Can Verstappen jump a place? He can. He can get Verstappen. We're in P4. And now we're going to boost a little bit and see if we can get George Russell. So big calls to go in this race. And Russell we're going to cut down. Or we're not, because the rival's right behind us. So we're a bit short on fuel, and the rival now does get us, which is annoying. So I'm going to cut down. The tune in with a corner in, definitely helping him through there. And he'll probably try and conserve. So I'm going to push again. We've got Verstappen in P3. And that is probably going to be best point scoring out of this race. So what will the rival do? I've not got a lot of fuel. So I'm going to try and push him as much as I can. Chances are we're not going to get past him at this stage, because we are going to have to cut down very shortly. But we want to try and make him run out of tyres. So we're going to keep pushing, because I'm happy with 45 points here. I'm very happy with 45 points, considering what it looked like at the start. We've got Max in P3, and we have got some rain coming in on the last lap. And we're going to have to cut down George Russell very shortly. So it doesn't look like P1 is in the bag, but definitely P2 and P3. And it made for a very interesting spectacle in this race. We're well clear of 4, 5, 6 and 7. And with the team score being so much higher, we've got away with one here, because it would have been very tough to score 45 or even 47 points. It would have been tough to score 45. But we've managed to score, I'd say, at least 45 points. We've got Max Verstappen about to run out of tyres. He's at 2%. And we've got George over the line for P2. So P2 and P3. And we've got the rival finishing now in P6. But that is a very, very solid 45 points against a Max player. Race number 2 in Monza. And we've got another player from the same team as the last one. And it is a player with a higher team score again. So it is making it tough work for us indeed. So what can we do? We're P2 and P4. So I'm going to use the dead fast on our Russell when I find it. And then for the mediums on Verstappen, we will be going for the old Street Shark. And we'll be doing 4 laps with him. So can we get a good start? And it is a real player again. So we are playing 2 races in a row, both real players. Let's see if this player manages to cancel his pit stop for this team this time. So lights out and away we go. And George Russell, can he get up the inside of Russell? And he can. So we're up to P2, which is good enough for now, as we come down into the chicane. So P2 and we're going to cut. We've got P8 for Max, who tries to hang it out the outside like a washing line, can't get through. So we're going to conserve for Max and we're going to conserve for Russell. Will the rival cancel pit for this team this time? He will. So another tough race on our hands, but we're going to score as many points as we can. That's all we can ask for in a GP scenario. So Verstappen, we're going to keep hold of P8. And looking ahead, he's got a lot of soft tyres ahead of him. We've got the rival catching us up. And that's absolutely fine. He's pushing on the mediums. So we're going to push on the softs as well for this lap. And we're going to come back and do 2 laps. So we're going to run until we get to around 50% here. And we're going to service and do the quicker time. So as Max Verstappen comes around the last corner, I'm going to close that gap, because we want him to get ahead of P4 really. That's our race based on where our drivers are at the moment. And the rival is well out in front. He's used a lot of fuel to get there. So we're just going to cut down and come back out, as Max is trying to get past Lewis Hamilton. This could ignite into some fireworks. And Max goes for the outside and can't get half past him. Max saying he was forced off the track by Lewis there. And haven't we heard that one before? So Max up to P7. And with all the field pitting, we are now into P4. And this is a crucial part of the race. We need to build a little bit of a gap as George comes out in P2. The rival's about to run out of tyres. And I think he's trying to hold me up, but he's failed in that. And we are going to then carry on. So P4 will close very quickly on P3. And hopefully we can build some more time. George is flying out front. We are going to come back shortly for another pit stop. And what's the rival doing? The rival's probably going to do 3. So we're going to cut back for some mediums and see if we can undercut him if he doesn't pit. Question is, does he pit? He doesn't. So we're going to try and undercut him here. I've got the fuel. So I know that. I know I'm good on fuel. And we're going to just leave Russell out here. He's got loads of back markers. But we're going to leave him, just push him. And see if we can get an undercut. What's the gap at the minute? The gap's 10. So I don't think we're going to get anywhere near him. The rival's pushing. So we're not going to jump him. It was worth a try. But sometimes you have to take the risks. We're cemented P2. We're absolutely fine with P2. So, yes, it was worth a try. As we come around the last corner, you can see the rival just coming out of the pits now. And we are down into P2. Not far behind him, but it's something we had to try. Talking through the boost that we've got dead fast. Obviously, it's a very quick circuit. So we've got the speed, the fuel and the tyre. And the Street Shark gives us the overtaking, the speed and the tyre as well. As we get into P4, so that is a damage limitation point scoring 44 points. But we have took the lead. Somehow we have took the lead of this race. We missed that, but we're into P1. That's come from absolute nowhere. I was just cementing how we've got 44 points. And suddenly, we're in the lead of this race. And wow, this is going to be an exciting finish. As George Russell faces George Russell. Back markers are getting in the way. Carlos Sainz between us. And we're going to be very low on fuel. But we are going to take first place. What a strategy. The rival obviously used up too much fuel. And wasn't be able to push on that last lap. And I tell you what. We have survived another scare. And it's not 47 points, it is 45. Oh, but I'm taking that all day long. We've got a happy as a WF1 with 45 points. Race number 3 in France. And we've got a bit of a nicer matchup this time. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear some potential possibilities of 47 points. So, we're going to go George Russell, we're going to go Rooster, because we're going to be playing Hold Up the Field. And we're going to go for Max Verstappen, and we're going to use a Lumberjack. I like a bit of a Lumberjack on here, I must say. But it's France, race 3, and let's see what we can do. Can we get a nice easy 47 points to really kickstart the weekend? I'm very happy with how we've started so far. We've had 2 45 points. And considering the opponent we are facing, I'm very happy with how we've performed. We can mix it with max accounts. That's the interesting part. So, we settle down after the lights were away. And we're rubbing shoulders quite literally with Lewis Hamilton. But we are up to P1 and P3. And we've now got Max behind Max. But hopefully we're not going to get done by some team orders, which is potentially the case here. So we're going to boost Russell a little bit. And we do need to get Verstappen straight past Max. As Lewis Hamilton comes back for another bite at the cherry. And he's took that cherry and he's ate it. Because Max Verstappen has lost a place to Lewis Hamilton. And oh God, he's flying Lewis Hamilton. So we're going to keep Max boosted down the straight. DRS. Not quite this time, so we're going to cut down. So we're just going to take a time. We've got Russell out front, going to be holding up the field. And we've got Max in P4. And I'm very comfortable with the position that we're in at the minute. We've now got George Russell holding up the players' AI in front. And we're going to settle down. So using the boost that we've got Rooster, which is good for tyres. It's good for grip. And it's very good at blocking your opponent. And Max Verstappen has got the overtaking, the speed, and he's also got the tyre management slightly as well. As Max comes down, we're just going to save his car service in here. We want a nice quick pit stop in, and we're now going to boost him so he's right behind Lewis Hamilton. And we're going to continue to hold up the field because Max Verstappen has got to go round again. So we're going to continue to hold him up. We're right behind Lewis Hamilton, as close as we could get. So can we get ahead of Lewis in the pits? Quick pit stop is needed, and a quick pit stop is what we've got. But we do get behind Sergio Perez, the master of defending when titles are on the line. And we've still got George out front holding up. So George is doing a tremendous job at holding Max. And we're just going to boost him now to get him hopefully away from Max. Because we want to get ahead. We want to come out ahead of him. As Max Verstappen goes up the inside, takes P7. And George Russell now pits. And Max Verstappen is absolutely flying. He's up to P6. And the rival's going to pit. And they're all going to pit. And we are out with Max Verstappen in P1. Exactly what we wanted. We're going to come back for some soft tyres because I'm going to use George Russell to hold up the field and then hopefully swim it nice and easy to the end of this race. So what's the gap? We've got 4 seconds, so Max has got an absolute perfect gap at the minute to get in, get out and get ahead of George. And George, we're just going to play chicken and it's deciding when we want to push, when we don't want to push. So, Max Verstappen in the pits. It's going to be a lot closer than I thought as he comes out. And we're going to push Max to get ahead of George because we want them soft tyres to absolutely just conserve. And, oh, whoa, what is that for a corner? And George is holding on here. That was a very odd, I know team orders came into play, but it was a very odd corner by George. And now we're going to boost Max out the way and settle George back down after some early nerves of nearly losing a position. But we're well in on the tyres. We've got 58%. And we keep getting team orders on the go here. So we're just going to push Max a little bit away. Let's get him away down the end of the straight. So we don't have any more team order issues. And Max is now absolutely gone like the wind and he's through out the way. George is absolutely fine now in P2. He's got Max still pushing him behind, but we've only got 1 lap to go for this one, and we're going to start to boost because oh no, we're going to lose it. We've kept here. I'm just teasing you all, guys, just making you all worry, but we will now push with George to the end. There's no need to hold back. Max Verstappen on them soft tyres. Obviously, I could have gone mediums and I could have just pushed him further. But I wanted to use the softs and he can mind his own business out front. So we've got George coming now for the victory lap. And we're going to boost Max as well. And we should be picking up our first 47 points of the day. With George Russell in P2. Max Verstappen from P6 into P1. And it is indeed 47 points for our third race of the day. Race number 4 in Belgium. And it's going to make some interesting viewing. We've got a good matchup again. So we've had 2 tough matchups, 2 decent matchups in 4 races. And this is the last race of the opening round that you're going to see. So, what are we going to do? We're going to use some dead fast. Because I want to, and I like dead fast. And we're going to go with Max Verstappen, a bit of Kawhi. Why? Because Kawhi. And here we go. So, Belgium. I want to use Kawhi. I like Kawhi. It is an aero and speed track, but this boost always seems very powerful for me. And we are P4 after lights out. We've got George Russell out already into P1. And can we get P3 now? Already up to P3 with this Kawhi. It is a very, very good boost. So we're going to keep boosting. And what we got ahead of us, we've got George Russell on the soft. So I don't need to push too hard. I could have used an aero and speed boost. So in terms of like a speed in the overtake. But I'm fine with my Kawhi. I have confidence in it. and it is very decent as well. It's very good for that smaller section of the track. Obviously, the power is good for the long straights, but in terms of this, for the middle of the circuit, it's very, very decent. So, George will be pitting this lap. He'll be going on for some more fresh rubber, and so will Max. And we're going to get them some car servicing so that we don't have to do it on the second round of pit stops. And what's the gap we've got? 2.6. And we are now into P2. Absolutely fine. So what can we get? Can we get them both in? Car servicing. We're going to cut down Max slightly. So hopefully we can get out ahead. Brilliant pit stop. Perfectly timed. And we do get Max ahead of Mercedes. But can we get him ahead of the other Mercedes? No problemo. P1 and P2 still. And we're both going on the 2-2-2 strategy. And I don't have to boost them at all at the moment. 3.5 seconds is the gap to P1. And if we keep them both conserved at the moment, we can monitor the gap because you'll be able to see what the difference in lap time is with both boosts. So last minute, I checked 3.5 seconds. We're another half the lap way through, and we're down to 2.6. So for anyone who was wondering about my decision beforehand about what boost I've used with Kawhi, that gap is now 2 seconds. It's going back up now, but that was very interesting how he took nearly a second out at that point. And now with Dead Fast kicked on, the gap is staying around 2.6. But that was interesting viewing to see Kawhi taking out a lot of time through that lap of the race on conserve. Almost like Dead Fast wasn't very good conserving and Kawhi was. So interesting one to note. So George Russell comes out P1. We're going to be boosting to the end. We're going to leave both cars running. Let's see what they end up with. 3.2 seconds is the gap when we came out of the pits. And when we're up and running, it's 3.3. So let's leave them both going. 3.3 seconds. And we'll come back to this in a lap time. We're halfway around the next lap. And we'll see what the gap is. We are coming back to some back markers, which is going to ruin my little bit of fun on this last lap. But the gap's 3.9 now. And we are going to start to get blocked with some back markers. So while we go on this last lap, do remember there is a Discord link in the description below. That's to my channel, where I help all subscribers out with any strategies. And also I've got the community in there who help as well. So do give that a shout. And remember, just drop me a subscribe if you're enjoying the content. We are approaching that 500 subscriber mark. So we'll come across the line, 47 points in the bag. And it's going to be a long wait for the rival to finish. Because we are P1 and P2. Nice and easy in Belgium. With the rival currently P10 and P14. So we're just going to hold it there. We've used 2 decent boosts there. Maybe I won't be using Kawhi again, but I'll tell you what, on conserve, that Kawhi was very, very strong, which bodes something good for the future. But P1 and P2, so that brings us for the 45 points in the first race in Australia, 45 points again in Monza, and then France and Belgium, we have committed a massive 47 points. So we've dropped 4 points. We're 184 points, I will expect, as they cross the line. So let's continue through it. Let's just show you briefly where we are. And fingers crossed you get a smashing GP as well. I want you to absolutely smash it this week. So opening round, sat P4. 4 races in, 184 points. And like we said, 45, 45, 47 and 47 makes 184 points. And that is it for the end of this round. I'll continue the 4 races and I'll see you tomorrow for final round.